Okay, we're going to look at how to create a form within Finalweb 2.0. You can create a form for many different purposes, ranging from a simple contact form to a registration for some kind of an event or a survey or anything of that nature. So you can do this on any page within the system. I'm going to go ahead and create a new page for this. So I'm going to go ahead and click on New Page, and I'm going to choose Basic Pages, and then Blank Page with a small header. And we'll do this, we'll call it Sign Up Form. I'm going to save that change. So I've got my new page. I'm going to mimic that title up here as well. So now, in this blank group, I'm going to go ahead and add a section. So I'll click Add Section, and I'm going to choose Form as the section type. Now there are a number of ways to do this. You can create a blank form, which just creates a form from scratch with no fields. You can create a form from a template, so we have some simple templates in there like a contact form, things like that. Or you can choose an existing form that you've already created in your system. For our purposes right now, I'm just going to create a blank form. I'm going to title it Sign Up. And we'll save the form and add that section to my page. Now, I've got a new section here, but there's no fields on it yet, only the CAPTCHA, which is very helpful in determining that, that the person or system filling out the form is not a computer, in fact, because that can spam your form database, and you don't want to receive spam in your form database. It can be really, really messy. So the CAPTCHA helps prevent that. But if I want to start adding fields to my form, I can just click on it, and I get a list of fields over here. So we'll go through some of the simple field types. I'm going to add a text box to start, and we'll call this one first name. And then there is an example here, and I don't necessarily need to have an example, so I'm going to clear that out. And for field options, I'm going to say I want this to be a required field. I'll go ahead and save that, and I'll do it again. Another text box, and we'll call this one last name. And then we'll take away the example again. But if I wanted to, I could put something like Smith or something like that, so it kind of illustrates to the user what they're supposed to type. Obviously, not so much of a concern with the last name field. Oh, and I forgot to turn on the required field. I want to require this one too, so I'm going to click on it to edit. We'll go Field Options, Required Field. Save that. And that's now got the red asterisk to indicate that it's a required field. Now let's say I want to collect their email address as well. This could also be in a text box, but this is a special field because what happens is if you use this one, it also will send a confirmation email, if we check this, to the person who fills this out. And you can specify what that confirmation text would be here. We'll require this field also, and we'll save that change. Now, I can start arranging fields while I'm adding them to my form. I can shrink this down a little bit. Shrink this down. Let's say I wanted the first and last name to appear on the same line. I can do something like this. And maybe the email address would be a little bit smaller. Okay. Now let's say I wanted an area for them to have notes and different types of information that they could enter to me, paragraph form. I could click this large text area field. Now, it might not be appropriate for a sign-up form, but just to show you that it's there. So I can go ahead and I could type in any comments, questions, or suggestions into the field hint. And I won't require this field. We'll leave it off. So save that. Let me get into some of these other field types here. Let's say I want them to be able to choose from different types of t-shirt sizes, for instance. So I could add something. There's a couple different ways to do this. I could add a radial box or a select field. Those would both be good ways to do that. I'll show you what both of them look like. The radial box gives you these round radio buttons. By default, it throws 3 options in here, but I can have as many as I want. I'm going to go ahead and say t-shirt size. And for my choices, I'll edit this first one, and we'll say small. And there's some other options in here. Now, if If I type small in here, then if somebody checks there or clicks that option, the value that's stored is going to be small because it's defaulting to the same name. If I want, I could put a corresponding numeric value to it, but usually it's going to be easiest just to leave this value field blank. I can make this the default value for the radio box and say most people have a small shirt. I don't know if I would need to do that, but that is an option. And then this one's very important. I can add a currency value to this field. Now, this is where your form can start to turn into something that actually takes payments for you. Now, our form system integrates with PayPal, and we are looking at integrating other payment providers. I'll show you where those will be and where the PayPal options are in just a moment. But let's say I want this small shirt to be a $15 price. So I'll go ahead and put 15 for my currency and save that. And then let's edit the second one. This one would be medium. And same price for medium. And we'll edit this one here. And the same price for large. If I want to add another one, I can say add choice. Say extra large. And same price there. So once I've got my choices in, I can save my field, and I now have an option to choose t-shirt size. And depending on what they choose, they'll get charged. Now, of course, I put the same value into each of these, so that's going to be $15 no matter what they choose. I could do the same thing with a select field. So we're going to skip these two checkbox and checkboxes for right now. We'll click on select field, and it really works the same way. I can type the field choice here and say sign up type, and we'll give a couple of options here. We'll give with meal plan, and we'll make that, let's say, $70. And then we'll say without meal plan, and we'll make this only $50. Let's also set that one as the default. Save that, and I've now got two different types of sign-up options. Checkboxes are simple. I can click a checkbox and say, do you agree to the terms and conditions? And then for field options, I'll require this one, so that means they're going to have to agree to the terms and conditions before allowing them to submit the form. If I have a need for many checkboxes, for instance, I could say list medical conditions, and I could list different types of medical conditions: heart issues, food allergies, and so on. And we'll go ahead and delete this last one here and save my changes. And lastly, well, a couple more options here. We can add a date field. So if we want to put, for instance, date of birth, this will give them a date chooser, and we'll go ahead and require that one. Save it. Now I'm starting to get my fields are a little out of order according to what we probably would have on a regular sign-ups. Date of birth would probably go somewhere up to the top. So I can just drag that up if I want to and move it up here. That might make more sense there. In fact, we could shrink it down and put it next to our email address. At any time, by the way, if you want to save your form, which I recommend, you can simply click off of the form. So I'm going to click here. That actually saves my form. And if I want to get back into it, I can click on it again. Okay, and this last field type, instructions, is just a place for me as the administrator to specify instructions to the user. So I could say, please fill out form below. And so we probably would put this way up at the top, and we'll drop it right there. So I've got a number of fields on my form. I've got some that even require payment, but I haven't done my form setup just yet. So I want to go into form settings right here. few options in here. I can change the title of the form. I can also determine where this form is going to be submitted. So I'm going to go ahead and type in the email address there. And if I want to customize a confirmation message to the user, I can type that in here. And that's going to be displayed on the screen. And I can also choose to send the response data to the submitter. So what this will do is, if someone fills out the form, it will actually send them an email confirming their form submission, as well as including all of the field information they filled out. So if you want to show them what they filled out, I could click that box right there. For my payment processor, right now I have none, so my payment fields aren't going to collect. So I want to change this to PayPal Payment Standard. As we add other payment processors, you will see them in this box. So I'm going to go ahead and type my PayPal email address. That's going to be the email address that I use to log into PayPal, and that links it up to my account. And if I want to offer a will call payment of some kind, maybe it's for a camp or registration, I want to allow them to pay by check later, and rather than having to pay online, I can allow for a delayed payment. So I'm going to leave that off for now, so all my payments will have to be collected online. And we'll click Save Changes, and my form is ready to go. So if I click off of my form, it will save the form, and I'm ready to take submissions. One last thing to note on forms: not only are the submissions sent to the email address that you specify in the form settings, but you can also view them online. There's a database where you can see them right here. If I hover over my form and then click this little eyeball icon that says View Responses, if I hover over it, it's going to take me to a place where I can see anyone here who has submitted their form information. Now there's no submissions on this because it's a brand new form, but this is where they would show. I can also export those as a comma separated file, or I can view them full screen. So if you want to put them into Excel or another spreadsheet program, the export is a great way to do that, and this should help you in viewing and managing your results.